Hello, everybody, and welcome to Big Bold You, a show that is dedicated to inspiring everyone, and yes, I am talking to you, to play bigger in life, be bolder, which means stepping out of your comfort zones and becoming the best version of yourself. And my name is Jens Johnson, and I will be your program host here every Monday at 3 p.m. Central because, listen, we got a big job to do, and that job is to make sure that all good people everywhere, and I know there are millions of incredible good people out there, we've got to all play bigger. Now, I used to think that it was a nicety to play bigger, but now I realize as I get a little bit older, it truly is a necessity. And I am bringing on our show every Monday incredible guests that can share their stories, their ups, their downs, their obstacles, their challenges, how they got around those and played bigger so they could do more. And I'm so super excited because my guest today is one of my longest, dearest, I'm not going to say old because we're not old. I'm not going to say old this whole time, but one of my longest, dearest friends in the world, Tisha Smith. So I'm so excited to have Tisha on. All right, Tisha, now don't tell any of my secrets, okay? Okay, you promise?
I promise.
Don't tell any, because she knows some, you know?
Oh, I know.
She knows where all the bodies are buried and all that kind of stuff. But just tell people a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to jump into our show topic for the day.
Okay. Well, I'm Tisha Smith, and I am the mother of 4 amazing grown kids. I have an amazing husband. I practice residential real estate in Houston, Texas, and my specialty is that I am a certified real estate divorce specialist.
You know, and that's one of the reasons why we decided on our topic. Our topic today is success after divorce. Now, the reason that we wanted to cover this topic is because both Tisha and I have been divorced. And tell them how long we've known each other.
Okay, so now that'll tell our age.
Yeah, that's
okay.
going to tell us.
So Jens and I met in college. I was 17.
Yes, I was 17 also.
Yeah, we were both 17.
We were both
right.
17.
So you can just guess how long that's been.
And we immediately hit it off. We were in Rush. We were in the same Rush group because your maiden name started with a T. My maiden name started with W. So we're in the same Rush group. We just completely hit it off. We thought we were both so cool, but we went to, I'm not going to say opposing houses. I'm not going to say opposing houses, but we went to the top 2 houses in our at our school that we went to. Yeah. All the bobcats out there. Yeah, if you knew Tisha and I in college, please don't tell any of our stories either. So we meet. We become great friends. We were actually we were sorority. I mean, we were little sisters to the same fraternity.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's when we really started to get to know each other better. We graduate from college, and then we both get married around the same time. And tell them the thing about how we always wanted to have our kids close together.
Okay, so I mean, really, our lives have been, I guess
parallel.
Yeah, they really have been to one another. So I had gotten pregnant, and I kept telling Jens, "You have to get pregnant. You have to get pregnant. We have to be, pregnant together." And her and her husband at the time came for a visit, and sure enough, a few weeks later, she was pregnant.
Because what we did was we had known each other for so long, and we said, wouldn't it be fun if we had our kids at the same time? So our first 2 are 7 or 8 months apart. Yeah. And our second 2 are, it's like a week apart.
Right.
And we timed that second one good.
Good.
It was amazing. And I think we even have some pictures of your gorgeous kids. At least Brenna and Brenna and Cade. And then we've got on the bottom picture, we've got Timmy. And we got to get into, where's that picture of just you and Tim? Because I just want to say, look how happy the 2 of you are.
We just had 5 years.
I know. Can you believe it's been 5 years? Y'all have already been married 5 years. I can't believe that. There you go. There's Timmy.
There's my man.
Okay, so let's just jump into talking about success after divorce, because I want you to share with everybody really, what was the first one like? What was the second one like? What were you looking for? How did you get past it? I mean, really, what's been your journey?
Oh gosh, I think that like a lot of couples that, you're married for a while and you realize maybe you've kind of outgrown each other. So I don't necessarily look at divorce as a failure. I think that, it's an opportunity to grow. And it's not an easy thing to go through. It's important that you stay positive and stay focused on, your kids and getting them through that. But it's important that you have a support system that surrounds you throughout all of that. And
that's what we
was
have.
always there.
Oh, no. But I think that so many times when you are younger and you get married, I think that we get married sometimes for the wrong reasons. I think sometimes, I know for myself,
absolutely, yeah.
I was so excited to be graduating from college, and I thought, okay, well, the next step is you just go out and you get married. And so really that's what I did. I went out and I married the person that I was dating, and not that he was a bad person, but he just wasn't right for me. But once you start that journey, you just say, okay, we're going to stick through it. We're going to stick in. And about the same time, we really did. We got married very close, like within 6 months.
Right.
And then we got divorced within 6 months. I mean, it was
very close.
It was very close, but I loved what you said, that you didn't view divorce as a failure. And I think that's so important, because I didn't view it as a failure after it was over, but at the beginning, it was years that I thought, oh my gosh, you do think of it sometimes as a failure, but it's not a failure. I do think it's a great opportunity to grow, and I know that we both grew after that first divorce. And we actually have an Ask a Life Coach question that listen, I would love for you to send your videos in, send in your questions. And sometimes people don't like to do videos because they don't like the way they look on video. Hey, no problem. Sometimes you don't like the way you sound, it's like.
That's me.
Tisha and I were just saying, we sound like we're country. I'm like, well, because we are. But anyway, here is a question from one of our viewers. And the question is, how do you overcome and stay hopeful for the future while you're going through divorce, is what she meant. And that's, it's somebody that I know that had reached out to me, and she actually has been in a relationship that she's known for years and years and years that it wasn't a good, healthy relationship. And now she's in the beginning of that. But I think one of the questions is, how did you manage your divorce, while you were going through the divorce?
I think probably one of the most important things is to think about, really honestly, we've all heard about laws of attraction. And I think that if we choose to focus on the negative rather than the positive, then the negative is going to find us. Mm-hmm. So it's really important that throughout that whole process, and it is a roller coaster ride of emotions, mm-hmm. it's important that you really try to stay focused on the positive things. For me, I actually did a gratitude journal at night, and there were days when it was tough to think of 5 things that I was grateful for that day.
Right.
But just making yourself put that down in writing, and I still have it. I've even gone back and looked at that.
Well, see, now I think that's so important, because it really is. When you're going through the divorce, you're scared. It's really, how do you manage your emotions? Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. I want people to be honest with me. And one of the things I say all the time is, if we're going to go on a hiking trip and you tell me it's going to be 30 or 45 minutes, and I come prepared for 30 or 45 minutes, and we get there and it's like 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, I'm going to be mad at you. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be mad at you. And when you go through divorce, it is a roller coaster. You are going to go up and down. You are going to be scared. You are going to feel alone. You are going to feel like you failed. It is a roller coaster of emotions. But I think, because I know you so well, and we always are focusing on the positive, but it was interesting because when we talked about this topic, obviously I want to get into your specialization in real estate with your career, but it was interesting because there were 5 things that you wrote down that you said helped you get through your divorce and you thought were so important, and there were 5 things that I said. So I definitely want to go over those 5 things, because I think it will answer the question and will help people along the way. Mm-hmm. So what was your number 1?
My number 1 was make your health a priority. Mm-hmm. And by that I meant, in all of it, your emotional, your physical health, all of it. focus on that first.
And you've always been big into working out and exercising, and I have too. And believe me, this isn't just the Jen's and Tisha advice. This is real, all right? When you exercise and you work out, your brain releases endorphins. You actually feel better. And when you are just feeling better about yourself physically, you feel better about everything else also.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on. So I agree. I think number one, you do have to make health a priority. And I think it's really important because it also, what you were saying too, is emotionally, you cannot be around negative people, folks. I'm sorry.
Nope.
You cannot. So if you're taking your health seriously, you're also examining the people that you have in your life, and you might have to, you might have to move, Sally Joe, who's over there telling you that you're never going to find somebody else again, to the back of the bus during this process. And then maybe you just want to kick her off your bus and not even have her come back on. Because you can find somebody else, you will find somebody else, and it is truly whatever you focus on. Then number two, what was your number two?
It's not to get distracted by what your ex is doing.
Yes.
And I think especially like if you've been married for a very long time, you're in the habit of, being with that person and knowing what's going on in their life. So it's important for you to be able to move forward to not think about what it is they're doing.
I know. And here's the thing is, it doesn't matter what they're doing.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, once you've made the decision to divorce and you're gonna separate and you're gonna go your own ways, I think it is, and it's hard, but believe me, because sometimes if you've been married for a really long time, I see this, and I don't know if I don't think either of us experienced this though, but I see that some women will lose themselves in that marriage or in that relationship, mm-hmm. where they're not themselves and then their spouse and them together. They are this person's wife, they are these kids' moms, and we didn't really have that issue.
No, no. We always knew who we were.
We always knew who we were, but I think for some people they get distracted very easily with what their ex is doing. It doesn't matter what they're doing. Yeah. What they're doing is crying that they lost us. Just say that to yourself. Say that to yourself whether it's true or not, okay? Mm-hmm. Because remember, reality, our brains don't know the difference between reality and what's not real. So if you got to make stuff up, you might as well make it good on your behalf. You know what I'm saying? All right, number three.
It would be to stay inspired, and it's basically what you're saying. It would be to, whatever it takes. You don't feel great when you're in the middle of a divorce. So,
no.
Part of that is maybe stepping outside of your comfort zone and trying something that's going to really make you feel good and uplifted, and even a group that maybe you wouldn't have been a part of
right.
While you were married. Try new things, because it's definitely going to be.
I think it's important that you stay inspired, and the way you stay inspired too is associating with the right people.
Absolutely.
And then number four.
Live each day to the fullest.
Yes.
Again, that kind of is a play on the other stuff, but get up every day. Sometimes it may be tough, but get up every day and just make it the best day that you can, because we really aren't. I know it's cliche, but we're not promised.
No.
We're not promised tomorrow. So every day, when you're watching your kids, if they're young, really pay attention to what they're doing, because you don't get those moments back.
I know, and I think it's so important, because when you are going through divorce, or when you're going through anything that's difficult or challenging, sometimes what you're doing is you're living in the past, or you're worried about the future, and you're not living in the present.
That's true.
And I think that's one of the things you are so good at. When we were in college, remember how on Sundays Tisha would say, "I've got Sunday-itis."
I hated Sunday.
Because we had so much fun during the weekend. We would have so much fun during the weekend that it was like, oh man,
we got responsibilities.
Monday's coming. Because we definitely did live each day to the fullest.
Absolutely.
And then your number five is one of my all-time favorites, no matter if you're going through divorce or not. But number five is
just have a plan for the next day. Whether it means just like lay it out for yourself at night, so that you know what you got, what you've got to look forward to.
And okay, so I think we actually even have a graphic that has Tisha's 5 habits to, there they are. And I think we need to keep it up, because you can screenshot this. And obviously, like we discussed, this is something that you don't have to be going through divorce. You could be going through a difficult times and all these habits are going to help you, but you always got to make health a priority. You can't be distracted by your ex or by what other people are doing or what the government's doing or not doing or what your friends are doing or not doing. You've got to stay inspired, live each day to the fullest, and plan your tomorrow before tomorrow begins. Now, similarly, these are the things that I said. Number one, you've got to make the decision to win. I don't care if it's a divorce. I don't care what the situation is life is a choice. And that was one thing that always attracted Tisha and I together is, when you're in college, there's a lot of people and you have friends and you have a great time, but then there's just some that you connect to on a deeper level, and obviously outside of college as well. But one thing I always loved about Tisha was she was a winner. I mean, you were a winner, you still are.
Thank you.
Because it was like failing has never been an option. It doesn't matter what it is. Mm-hmm. It's like we would get together and we would just talk about all the things we were going to do and this and it never ever crossed your mind to not win. And I think that you got to make the decision that you're going to win. When you are beginning your divorce, when you're going through your divorce, after the divorce, make the decision to win and you will win. Number two for me is be very, very careful with who you associate. I know we talked about that. Can you remember, did we have any negative Nellies that we were hanging out with when we went through the divorces?
I think we always do, but they didn't last long.
I know. I'm trying to think. I'm like, I just don't remember. Well, you know what? Hold on a second. When, and I'm going to say this because I think it's important. This show is designed to help inspire everyone. And so many times we look at other people and we think, oh gosh, they've got such a perfect life. And no, that's not the case. My mother, who I love dearly, she's 83 years old, but she has suffered with mental health issues her whole entire life. And when I was going through my divorce, my mother was the one who said to me, she was the negative Nellie, not because she's a bad person, but because that's just what she's dealt with her whole life. Yeah. And she told me, she said, Jens, I had 3 small kids at the time. And she said, you are never going to find somebody who's going to take on your 3 kids and you. And I thought, well, number one, I don't need anybody to take on my 3 kids and me. I'm going to be able to do this. But I will never forget, I was on the phone with her and I said, Mother, I love you, but I'm just not going to be talking to you for a while. And that's what I did.
Remember that.
And it was close to 6 months that I couldn't have that negative energy. And your mother is phenomenal. She's mom.
She is amazing.
She's amazing. And she was always so supportive, but you have to have supportive people. So
I think too, Jens, that sometimes it's just a generational type of thought process. So that's even harder for women who are getting divorced at that at a later age. It's even harder for them because that's not the way their beliefs are.
It's just and plus if you're a faith-based person, some people do say, oh my gosh, no, divorce is horrible and it's the worst thing and blah. But you know what? Living in a marriage that's not healthy for you or for your children, that's worse. That's worse. For me, number 3 is make a plan and do the plan. So what I love about your 5 habits is one of those things where you said every night that you would do a gratitude journal. That's a plan.
True.
That's a plan. And if you're not, and let's just face it, when you're going through a difficult time, you do need a plan because it's not like you're just going to do this all on your own.
No.
So if you're taking some notes, or maybe you're going through a difficult time and it's not divorce, but these are some tips that you can put into your plan. And whatever that plan is, if you're going to plan your tomorrow before tomorrow begins, if you're going to plan to be inspired, what are those things that you're doing to be inspired? If you're going to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with good, positive people, and that's your plan. If you're going to take your idea of a gratitude journal, write down what that plan is, and then do what that plan is. You're a planner, so I know you probably did that.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, listen, Tisha was the one that when we were in college.
Oh, gosh.
So Tisha would always say, Jency, sit down right here. Let me explain to you how to do this. And so I used to have a folder, a notebook for each one of my classes. And you were the one who said, no, Jens, You need to sit down and have all your classes together and all one. And I did that for the rest of my college career, and it was phenomenal.
One big binder.
One big binder. I mean, you could take that from her because it works.
That's what dividers are for.
Yeah. That's what the dividers. So for me, number 4 is you have to be in a healthy environment. And, you know, I think that's probably, it's odd because when you're not in a healthy environment, and so many times when you are married and you're not married into the right person, and I really want to emphasize that when I say the right person, I don't mean that a person is bad. I mean, my ex-husband, I don't think of him as a bad person at all. He just wasn't the right person for me. I mean, I felt like, you know, he kind of had me down like this, where he didn't want to grow as big as I wanted to grow. He didn't want to do the things. We weren't aligned with our hopes and dreams, and even parenting. We didn't align with some parenting things. So when you're in an environment that might not be healthy, it's dysfunctional. Sometimes you don't even realize that you're going to gravitate towards another dysfunctional environment. And I think it's really important that you focus on being in healthy environments. And that was what was so great with you is you had such a great support system with your family. You immediately went into a healthy environment.
Right.
I mean,
I always had that support and I felt
always.
safe.
And you have to feel safe. So, you know, let's face it, sometimes your family isn't the environment that you're going to go to. So what is the environment? Because the goal is that after the divorce, you're bigger and better than you were before. And then my number 5, because I am a faith-based person, is pray. I mean, you've got to pray.
Yeah, gosh, I was on my hands and knees at night.
You are going to have to pray if you are a faith-based person, and those things really do take you through the process and then help you succeed afterwards. So I think it's really important because you've taken your experience and it's really impacted what you're doing professionally. So I wanted you to share with everybody what you are doing professionally.
Okay. You know, like I said, I do residential real estate, and I guess, you know, there's so many realtors out there, and I realized pretty quickly that I needed to do something that, you know, let me not only just stand out from the rest, but I needed to be passionate about it. And I just kind of happened on a designation, and it's certified divorce specialist. It's a newer one, so that made it even more fun and challenging for me. Basically what I do is I work with couples that I can do with couples or either or that are in the middle of going through a divorce, and I'll help them get through that whole house selling. It can be a nightmare, but if they have multiple homes, that's just a whole nother thing. So just helping them get through that process, and it can be, you know, even in real estate, sometimes you feel like the therapist. Right. So in this situation,
I'm sure,
you know, I can relate though. You know, I've bought and sold in the middle of a divorce, and, you know, your head isn't on right. So, you know, I just want to be the person that's there for them, that can help them understand the process and what they're going through, but also be a neutral party to the two of them.
Okay, so do you think, is it good to sell if you're married, or should one of them keep the house?
It depends.
Okay, just totally depends.
It totally depends, yeah.
Totally depends. Because
I think that sometimes one has the intention, sometimes usually it's the mom that says, I want to keep the house for the kids, but what she finds later is she can't afford it.
Right. Well, you know, so this is the thing is, and we know this, women tend to be very emotional, and it's another thing that's really, we don't have that. Not that we're not emotional, but and that should really probably be one of our tips is don't make decisions based on emotions.
Exactly. Lighten up.
Yeah, you got to lighten up. Which is going to be our last segment here. But sometimes I think the wife really does want to keep the house, and it's all emotionally. They are emotionally tied to that house. But to your point, if it's not what is financially the best decision, you got to give up the house, okay?
Yeah, it's just a house.
It's just a house. I mean, I promise you, you're going to get a better one later, okay? Don't even worry about it. You got to get rid of it.
Let go of the old stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that it is, if, you know, I mean, to me, if I was going through a divorce and I knew that there was a special designation with realtors now, I think that would be awesome, because there is probably different laws that are surrounding the divorce process, that if you haven't finalized the divorce, there are things that you need to know.
It's typically your biggest asset. So, you really want to make sure that it's handled properly.
Yes.
And there are a lot of, legal, there's a lot of legal stuff that's associated with that. So it's important to have somebody that understands it.
Well, and then here, I don't know about you, but we were both single moms for a while, and I just have a heart for single moms.
Oh, yeah.
I have a heart for single moms because I was a single mom. And do you know that there's a statistic, and I cannot remember if I read this somewhere, if somebody said this, but it is, most women are one divorce away from poverty.
Wow, yeah, I think I've heard that.
I mean, is that not, it's crazy. So, first of all, we got to make sure that we are strong and successful during our whole journey in life. I think it's important that we teach our kids, male and female, that they need to be successful their entire journey in their life. But if you find yourself in a divorce situation, we got to be strong.
Hey, you know what? Single moms are so powerful.
They are.
Once they, get past all of the, the stuff that's holding them back, they can be so powerful.
I mean, I don't know about you, but because I think we've talked about this, but after I got divorced, I was like, it was such a relief because I didn't realize how much energy I was spending on keeping that dysfunctional relationship functioning. I didn't realize it. It was like, oh my gosh, I got all this time and energy back.
And it's freeing to be independent.
You
get to make decisions, you make them on your own now, you know, and you're making them for everybody. So it's important that you make good ones.
I know. So I love it. But I think, one of the things that we're really, really big into, but before we go into our laughter is the best medicine, is there any other closing points that you want to share with these incredible people out there regarding success after divorce?
I think we've covered quite a bit, but the main thing would be just to really find out who you are, find out what your purpose is, and go for that. Nothing should be able to hold you back. If you surround yourself with the right people and have the right support, you really should. Don't just think you have to go take any job, find out, dig deep and find out what that is. What is your passion and your purpose, and go for it.
Yeah, I think that's such great advice too, because if you're transitioning anyway, you might as well transition to 2 or 3 things at one time.
Just make it good.
Just make it good. And really, I think one of the things you said is, you got to have faith and believe that you can succeed, you can achieve, and you do deserve whatever it is that you want. Because you've had many hats. I mean, you were in pharmaceutical sales, you were in the healthcare industry, outside of in medical records. And what you're doing now, I think that you said, I can't believe I haven't been.
Why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah, why didn't you do it sooner? And it was one of those things you just didn't. But there is something freeing about being your own boss, and I think that's amazing. So definitely,
and you're never too old to start over.
No, you're never. You're never too old to start anything. I mean, Judge Judy was 50 or 51. When she started her show.
I didn't know that.
And and you know what's so crazy is, so she's just being a judge, and she had some cameramen in her court. They said she's amazing. Somebody actually watched the video, the tape, and the footage that they had, and I can't remember if it was for their local news or what it was, but a producer said, this woman is awesome.
That's awesome.
And like last year or the year before at 72, 73, her annual contract was for $72 or $73 million.
Wow.
For a year. Okay, so I'm just saying that when I'm 72 or 73, I'm going to be signing.
Well, I said I want to be one of those realtors that's,
exactly
showing houses with my cane.
And there's no reason why you can't. No reason why you can't. All right, so we are so excited to jump into our Laughter is the Best Medicine segment for a couple reasons. Number one is, you can't take life so seriously. I say it all the time. Everything goes up and down. Nothing is forever. And I really want to emphasize that, because I think sometimes when things are going so amazing and great, people are like, oh, awesome, but that's not going to last forever either, okay? Things don't last forever. So you've got to have laughter. You can't take yourself so seriously. You got to do some silly, fun things. And we're going to show you a video for our Laughter is the Best Medicine clip.
Have you ever wanted to be treated like a family member when you go to a restaurant and get your meals for free? Well, get yourself a long gray, black, and silver hair. put it inside any piece of food that you want, and get your meal on the house.
Okay, so what's hysterical is that's my son, Brady. And Brady was actually on the show. Did you watch that show?
I didn't see that.
You've got to watch
I'll
that
watch it.
show, Tisha.
Brady.
He's
So cute.
hysterical. And that was actually, we had done our show, and it was so funny because he was really comparing himself to other people, and he was a little bit sad. I mean, he was in a funk. I mean, and he was like, I got to push past the funk. Push past the funk. I said he needs to write a song, a little rap
There's
song
only
or
one you.
something. There's all, I mean, and we left taping and we went to go get something to eat, and it was hysterical because there was this big old hair
So he
coming
didn't
out.
really put that in there.
No, he didn't really put the hair in it, but we came up with an idea, and we said, what if that's what you sold on the internet, where all different color hairs, like,
Hey.
you know, if you wanted to go to an Asian restaurant, you'd get a black long Asian straight as a board hair, you know, and you could just go pick, like you could get a multi-pack of different color hairs, you know, and you just take it. And so we were dying laughing so hard because that's how Brady is. He's hysterical. And I said, Brady, I've got to do a video because this would be a great video for us to have on the Laughter is the Best Medicine. But
awesome.
I mean, here are some of the things that I've done in my life, and that I would love it if y'all would take some videos of your family, your friends, you know, just coming up, scaring up, like maybe hiding behind something.
You're such a prankster.
I mean, get under the bed and like grab somebody's ankles or something, have somebody else video it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just do something crazy. If you're not used to doing that, you are going to love it. You're going to laugh so hard. It's going to be hysterical. Send it to me at jensjohnson.com. I'm going to put that in the comment section because I want those Ask a Life Coach videos, and I also want the Laughter is the Best Medicine video. Then, like that gratitude journal that Tisha has, and you can pull those videos out and watch them, and you will crack up laughing. And you know, I think that you got something over here because this is what's so great.
Okay.
Just like how Tisha said she keeps those journals, and I keep the funny videos so I can watch. Here she pulls up in here today with something.
I'm very, very sentimental. And Jen's, during college, she had to go home for a little bit, and she was going to be leaving, and we were so close. It was really emotional. And I happened to be going through some things, and I found this card that she wrote to me when she was leaving. And at the time, we weren't sure she was going to come back. Of course, she did, and we just picked up where we left off, like nothing had ever happened. But I found this card and gave it to
What's
Jen.
year? What year is that?
Oh my gosh, it doesn't.
Did I put the year?
We don't have a year. No. But look how pretty this handwriting is. I don't know if you can even see that.
You see how pretty my handwriting
She has great handwriting. But I read it to my daughter, and I mean, I got emotional, you know, but my daughter said, I wish I had a friend like that.
Well, they will, you know, and I've got somebody that I know that she calls it her smile file. And so she's got this big file that she sticks all those things in there. And I think that's a great strategy too. It's a great thing to do. You've got so many people out there that love you. You're incredible. And there's so many things that you were sent to this earth to do. We want you to go out there and do them. So I want to thank Tisha so much for coming on the show. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching and tuning in. Share this. If this is something that touched you, and you know somebody that might be going through a divorce, or maybe is already gone through a divorce, but they're just not back to their normal selves. They want to get bigger and better. You know, we all can play bigger. We can all be bolder, and we can all become even better versions of ourselves, so we can have success and we can go bless this world with our greatness. So until we meet again next Monday at 3 p.m., be big, be bold, and be you. Bye-bye.